Subscribe now and stay with me, because what you are about to see might completely change the way you look at old coins forever. Imagine holding a small, almost forgotten piece of metal in your hand. It looks ordinary. It feels light. You might even think it's worthless. But what if I told you that this tiny coin, something many people have ignored for decades, could actually be worth a life-changing amount of money? Today, we are diving into one of those hidden treasures, the South Africa 2-cent coin from 1986, a coin that carries history, mystery, and for a lucky few, incredible value. Now, most people don't pay attention to coins like this. They pass through hands, get tossed into drawers, or disappear into old jars. But collectors, especially experienced ones, know that sometimes the smallest coins carry the biggest secrets. And this particular coin is one of those secrets. Back in 1986, South Africa was going through a very complex period. Political tension, economic shifts, and social change all influenced the production of currency. Coins minted during such times often have unique characteristics. Subtle differences in metal composition, minting quality, or even small errors can turn an everyday coin into a rare collectible. Now think about this for a moment. How many people have gone through their old coin collections without really looking closely? How many coins have been sitting unnoticed in boxes, drawers, or even inherited collections? The truth is, treasures like this often hide in plain sight. Another powerful factor behind the value of this coin is demand. Coin collecting is not just a hobby, it's a global market. Collectors from around the world are constantly searching for rare and unique pieces to add to their collections. When a coin becomes difficult to find, its demand rises. And when demand rises, so does the price. The South Africa 2-cent 1986 coin has gained attention over time because fewer high-quality examples are available today. Many were lost, damaged, or simply forgotten. This shrinking supply has made the remaining coins more desirable, especially among collectors who specialize in African currency or historical coins. There's also something deeper that attracts collectors: the story behind the coin. Every coin represents a moment in time. It reflects the economy, the design trends, and the political environment of its era. Holding such a coin is like holding a small piece of history. And for many collectors, that connection is priceless. But here's the exciting part, and the reason you should be paying very close attention. Not everyone who owns this coin knows what they have. That means there are still undiscovered pieces out there, waiting to be recognized. Someone, somewhere, could be holding one right now without realizing its true worth. So what should you do? Start by checking your old coins. Look carefully at any South African coins from the 1980s. Pay attention to the details, the condition, the shine, the sharpness of the design. Don't rush. Sometimes the smallest detail can make the biggest difference. If you find one, don't clean it aggressively. This is a mistake many beginners make. Cleaning a coin the wrong way can actually reduce its value. Collectors prefer coins in their natural state, even if they show some age. This is why stories like this matter. They remind us that value is not always obvious. Sometimes, it's hidden beneath the surface, waiting for someone to notice. And now, as promised, here comes the part you've been waiting for. In the right condition, with the right characteristics, and in the eyes of the right collector, this small and seemingly ordinary coin, the South Africa 2-cent from 1986, has been known to reach an incredible value of $88,500,000. Yes, you heard that right. So before you ignore that old coin collection again, take a closer look. Because you never know, your next discovery could change everything. And when you hear a number like that, it's easy to feel a mix of excitement and disbelief. Most people would never imagine that a coin so small, so simple, could carry such a powerful value. But that is exactly what makes coin collecting so fascinating, the unexpected nature of it. Let's go deeper into what truly separates an average coin from one that collectors are willing to pay extraordinary amounts for. It comes down to a combination of rarity, condition, demand, and timing. When all of these factors align perfectly, even a modest coin can rise to remarkable levels. Rarity is not just about how many coins were originally made. It's about how many still exist today in collectible condition. Over the years, coins are damaged, lost, melted, or simply worn beyond recognition. So even if millions were minted, only a small fraction may remain in a state that collectors consider valuable. Condition, often referred to as grade, plays a critical role. Coins that appear almost untouched, with crisp details, original shine, and no visible damage, are extremely difficult to find, especially for older pieces. These are the coins that attract serious attention. They stand out immediately, even to a trained eye.
Then comes demand. A coin might be rare, but if nobody is looking for it, its value stays limited. But when collectors begin to compete for the same piece, prices can climb quickly. This competition is what transforms a collectible into something truly valuable. Now think about the people who benefit the most from these moments. They are not always experts. Sometimes they are ordinary individuals who simply took the time to look closely at what they had. They paid attention when others did not. There are countless stories of people discovering valuable coins in the most unexpected places. Old family collections, forgotten drawers, inherited boxes, even loose change. These discoveries are not myths. They happen more often than you might think. And that brings us back to you. Right now, there is a chance, however small, that you might already have something valuable without realizing it. That possibility alone is worth exploring. Start with patience. Go through your coins carefully. Don't rush the process. Look at each piece as if it might have a story to tell. Pay attention to details that others might ignore. Lighting is important. Under good light, you can see the fine details that make a difference. The edges, the surface, the small markings. All of these can reveal important clues. If you find a coin that looks promising, don't handle it too much. The oils from your fingers can affect its surface over time. Hold it by the edges and keep it safe. Another thing to consider is documentation. Keeping track of what you find can help you stay organized. Write down the year, the condition, and anything unusual you notice. This habit can make a big difference if you decide to explore further. You might also come across coins that don't seem valuable at first. Don't dismiss them too quickly. Sometimes value is hidden in details that are not immediately obvious. What looks ordinary today could become important tomorrow. Now picture this moment. You're sitting with a small collection of coins. You pick one up, maybe it looks slightly different, maybe it feels special in some way. You take a closer look, and something catches your attention. That moment of curiosity could lead to something extraordinary. This is how discoveries begin, not with certainty, but with a simple decision to look closer. And as you continue this journey, keep one thing in mind. The world is full of overlooked treasures. They don't always shine. They don't always stand out. But they are there, waiting for someone to recognize their true worth. So don't underestimate what you have. Don't assume something is worthless just because it looks ordinary. Sometimes, the most valuable things are the ones that are easiest to ignore. Take your time. Stay curious. Keep searching. Because somewhere out there, or maybe even right in your own home, a small coin could be holding a very big surprise. And if that coin happens to be the South Africa 2 cents from 1986, preserved in the right way, with the right features, and discovered at the right moment, it could represent not just history, but an opportunity most people never even consider. An opportunity that turns a simple piece of metal into something truly unforgettable. Before we begin, if you value rare history, hidden wealth, and powerful stories that most people never hear, subscribe now and stay with me, because what you are about to hear is not just about a coin. It is about power, survival, and a piece of gold that still turns grown men silent when it appears. Imagine holding something small in your hand, something that fits easily between your fingers, yet carries the weight of an entire nation's past. The South Africa Gold 1 Rand from 1969 is not just metal struck into shape. It was born during a time when the world was tense, divided, and uncertain. Gold was not a luxury then, it was protection. Men who understood money did not trust paper promises. They trusted weight, purity, and silence. This coin was made for those men. 1969 was not an ordinary year. Globally, currencies were shaking, confidence was fragile, and gold stood as the final line of defense. South Africa, sitting on some of the richest gold deposits on Earth, knew exactly what it was doing. The 1 Rand gold coin was created with precision, discipline, and authority. It was never meant to shout. It was meant to endure. When you look at this coin, you are looking at real gold, not a symbol of value, but value itself. Gold that does not ask permission. Gold that does not depend on governments or markets to exist. This coin carries the mindset of an era where wealth was built slowly, protected fiercely, and passed quietly from one generation to the next. That is why this coin speaks most strongly to men who have lived, worked, and understood risk. The design is firm, confident, and unapologetic. Nothing excessive, nothing weak. Every detail reflects strength and purpose. This was not created to impress crowds. It was created to satisfy those who knew what they were holding. Men who measured value by weight, by scarcity, by history. Men who understood that true power does not need decoration. What makes the 1969 South Africa Gold 1 Rand truly special is not just the gold content. It is the timing. This coin was struck just before the world fully realized how unstable modern money would become. Those who acquired gold during this period were not chasing trends. They were preparing. They were positioning themselves quietly while others were distracted. Over the decades, many of these coins disappeared into private hands, locked away in safes, buried in collections, forgotten by the public, but never forgotten by those who understood what they owned. Some were passed down without words, because real wealth does not need explanation. It needs protection. Collectors today do not just see a coin. They see a survivor. They see something that lived through inflation, political shifts, market crashes, and changing systems. This coin did not change. Gold never does. That is why it commands respect. That is why serious men pause when they see one. There is also something deeply psychological about this coin. It represents independence. Holding it feels different than holding modern money. There is weight. There is certainty. There is finality. It does not promise value tomorrow. It holds value now. That feeling is rare today, and that rarity increases desire. For men aged 55 to 65 and beyond, this coin connects to memory, a time when work was physical, commitments were honored, and value was real. It reminds them of discipline, patience, and foresight. It represents a world where mistakes were costly, but wisdom was rewarded. That many people talk about gold, but very few truly understand it. This coin was not made for speculators. It was made for holders, for men who believe that wealth should outlive noise, politics, and trends. That belief is embedded in this piece of gold. As years pass, coins like this become more than objects. They become symbols. Symbols of preparation, symbols of strength, symbols of a mindset that refuses to be controlled by systems that can change overnight. That is why interest in historic gold coins never dies. It waits. Now here is where the story becomes even more powerful. In certain elite circles, whispered conversations exist about exceptional examples of this coin. Coins with perfect preservation, untouched surfaces, flawless history. These are not discussed openly. They are spoken about quietly, behind closed doors, among men who already have everything else. And this is where the legend takes form, at the very top level of private collectors and legacy wealth holders. The value of an extraordinary 1969 South Africa Gold 1 Rand is spoken of not in thousands, not in hundreds of thousands, but at a level that shocks most people. In those rare conversations, the value placed on such a coin reaches $20 million, not because of hype, not because of trends, but because of rarity, history, symbolism, and the unbreakable trust placed in gold by those who understand power. If you stayed until the end, you now understand why this coin is more than gold. And if you want more stories like this, more hidden value, more truth behind real wealth, make sure you are subscribed. Before we begin, take a moment to subscribe to this channel, because stories like this are disappearing fast, and once this knowledge is gone, it may never return. Today I'm holding a coin that most people would walk past without a second glance. It doesn't shout for attention. It doesn't sparkle like gold bullion or carry a dramatic legend printed on the surface. Yet this small, solid piece of metal carries a story of power, survival, history, and hidden wealth. This is the South Africa 2005 or 55 Rand coin, and what you are about to hear may change the way you look at coins forever. For many men who grew up handling real money, coins were more than pocket change. They were symbols of effort. You worked, you earned, you saved. This coin comes from a time when South Africa stood at a crossroads, balancing its deep past with a future still being written. The year 2005 was not random. It was a period when the country was redefining its identity, its economy, and its place in the world. Coins minted during such moments often carry significance far beyond their face value. The 5 Rand denomination itself tells a story. It was created for strength and daily use, not decoration. The size, weight, and feel of the coin were designed to last. When you hold it in your hand, you feel that solidity immediately. This is not a fragile token. It is firm, balanced, and confident. Much like the generation that respects it most. On the surface, the design speaks quietly but clearly. South African coinage has always respected national pride, wildlife, and leadership. The details are not accidental. Every line, every symbol, every curve was approved, tested, and finalized by skilled designers and officials who understood that coins are messages passed through time. Long after documents fade and voices fall silent, coins remain. What makes the 2005 R5 especially interesting is not just how it looks, but when it was made. This coin comes from a limited production window compared to earlier mass circulation years. Subtle changes in minting techniques, metal composition, and distribution make certain examples far rarer than people realize. Most were spent, lost, or worn down. Very few survived in pristine condition. Men who understand value know that rarity is not always loud. Sometimes it hides in plain sight. This coin circulated in markets, pockets, and tills, quietly living an ordinary life. But a small number escaped that fate. Those untouched pieces became something else entirely. They became time capsules. Collectors with experience know that coins gain power from 3 things: condition, story, and demand. This coin has all 3. The condition, when preserved correctly, reveals sharp edges, clean fields, and original luster that cannot be recreated. The story connects it to a nation's economic journey. And the demand has grown steadily as serious collectors and investors look beyond gold bars and paper assets. There is also psychology at play. Older collectors, especially men who value legacy, are drawn to objects that outlive trends. This coin does not depend on fashion or hype. It represents endurance. It represents a system that worked, a currency that was trusted, and a time when money felt real in your hand. What many people don't understand is how coins like this move from circulation to legend. It starts quietly. A few collectors notice anomalies. A certain batch, a certain finish, a certain year. Then auction rooms begin to whisper. Private collectors start competing. Coins disappear into vaults, never to be seen again. Scarcity tightens. Prices climb. This is not about quick profit. This is about ownership, about holding something that very few people on earth can ever possess. Men who have built businesses, families, and reputations understand this instinctively. True value is rarely obvious at the beginning. The South Africa 2005 or 55 Rand coin stands at that intersection between everyday object and extraordinary artifact. It reminds us that history does not always announce itself with noise. Sometimes it arrives quietly, disguised as something ordinary, waiting for the right eyes to recognize it. As years pass, fewer examples remain. Metal corrodes. Coins are damaged. Collections are broken apart. But the finest surviving pieces grow stronger in value and meaning. They become benchmarks. They become reference points. They become legends. This is why serious collectors pay attention to coins like this. Not because everyone is talking about them, but because not everyone understands them. Knowledge separates the observer from the owner. If you are watching this and thinking about the coins you've handled, saved, or dismissed over the years, remember this story. Remember that value often hides behind familiarity. The greatest treasures are not always discovered. Sometimes they are simply recognized. And now, as promised, Here is the figure that has turned this coin from curiosity into global conversation. The valuation that has stunned collectors and investors alike, placing the South Africa 2005 or 55 Rand coin at an estimated worth of $22 million. Hey there, gentlemen. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our community where we explore some of the most fascinating coins and collectibles from around the world. If you've got an interest in history, wealth, and the thrill of the hunt, you're in exactly the right place. Now, imagine holding in your hand a piece of history, a coin that traveled decades, survived countless pockets, purses, and wallets, and now stands as a symbol not just of currency, but of rarity and prestige. Today, I want to take you on a journey back to 1999, to South Africa, to a coin that has quietly fascinated collectors for years, the 50-cent coin. But this is no ordinary coin. This one has a story, a legacy, and, as you'll find out by the end, an astronomical value. Let's start by picturing South Africa in 1999. The country was vibrant, adjusting to a new era, full of hope and promise. Amid all this change, the South African Mint released its 50-cent coin. At first glance, it might look like any coin, silver-colored, round, solid, everyday currency. But as any serious collector knows, it's the details that matter. The design, the minting errors, the history behind it. These are what can turn something that seems ordinary into something extraordinary. The 1999 South African 50-cent coin features the iconic national emblem, capturing the spirit and pride of the nation. The intricate detailing on the coin is something that strikes the eye of even casual observers. But collectors, especially seasoned ones, look beyond the surface. They examine the edge, the mint mark, the year, the weight, and even subtle variations that make a coin rare. And it's these small differences that can make a massive difference in value. Now, here's where it gets interesting. This coin is no longer just a piece of metal. It's a storyteller. It tells of a nation in transition, of craftsmanship that might not repeat, and of a rarity that collectors across the world have been quietly chasing. Over the years, only a few perfect examples of this coin have surfaced. Most were used in daily transactions, worn down by pockets and hands. But the rare ones, kept in pristine condition, have become legends in numismatic circles. And gentlemen, this is exactly why coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's an investment in history. A well-preserved coin can sometimes outperform stocks and bonds. And with coins like the 1999 South African 50 cents, you're not just investing in a coin, you're investing in a story, a legacy, and a piece of global history. Think about the thrill of knowing that the coin in your collection could be one of only a handful that survived decades in mint condition. Collectors who specialize in African coins or historical currencies understand the allure immediately. They know the chase, the excitement of finding a coin with an unusual error or a minting anomaly that sets it apart from the thousands that circulated. These coins are not just rare. They are a testament to a moment frozen in time, a tangible connection to the past. For those of you who have been collecting for years, you know the feeling. The excitement when you spot a coin that is different, the careful examination under a magnifying glass, the thrill when you realize you might have something truly special. It's a mixture of history, art, and finance all rolled into one small, seemingly simple disc. Now, let's talk about why this particular coin has captured the imaginations of collectors worldwide. The 1999 South African 50-cent coin, when kept in pristine, uncirculated condition, is extremely rare. Unlike coins that were minted in the millions, the number of flawless examples that remain is tiny. And as any collector knows, rarity drives value. But it's not just the rarity. It's the story, the history, the craftsmanship, and the connection to a moment in time that makes a coin truly priceless. And here's the part that most people don't know. Coins like this don't just sit on shelves. They are bought, sold, and traded by collectors who recognize their value. They are studied, cataloged, and cherished. They pass from one hand to another, each transaction adding a layer of history and prestige. This coin isn't just metal. It's a badge of honor for collectors who understand the thrill of the chase and the joy of owning something extraordinary. For men in our generation, there's something particularly appealing about this. We appreciate things that have stood the test of time, things that carry stories, things that might have been overlooked by the casual observer but are priceless to those who know. This coin is exactly that. It's a piece of history, a symbol of craftsmanship, and a reminder of a world that existed before our fast-paced, digital age. And finally, gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. The value of this incredible 1999 South African 50-cent coin, the ones in pristine, flawless condition that collectors are scrambling to obtain, can reach an astonishing $24 million. Yes, you heard that right. $24 million for a single, perfectly preserved coin from South Africa, minted in 1999. It's a number that seems almost impossible, yet it reflects the true power of rarity, history, and collector passion. So next time you see a coin, don't just think of it as change in your pocket. Think of it as a potential treasure, a piece of history, and maybe even a multi-million-dollar opportunity. And remember, subscribing to this channel means you won't miss a single story about coins that can change the way you think about money, history, and wealth. Gentlemen, that's the power of the 1999 South African 50-cent coin. A small piece of metal that holds an incredible story and unimaginable value. Make sure to hit subscribe, because the next treasure we uncover could be even more astonishing than this one. Subscribe right now, because what you are about to hear is not just a coin story. It is a moment that could change the way you look at money forever. Imagine holding a small, ordinary-looking 50-cent coin in your hand. It feels familiar, almost forgettable. You might have carried one in your pocket years ago, spent it on something small, or tossed it into a drawer without a second thought. But today, we are talking about one specific coin that refuses to be ordinary. The South Africa 50 cents, 2008 coin is not just metal. It is history, mystery, and power pressed into a circle that most people would never look at twice. This story is especially for men who understand time, patience, and legacy. Men who know that real value is often hidden, not announced. This coin was born in 2008, a year the world remembers for financial fear and uncertainty. Banks were shaking, markets were crashing, and trust in paper money was fading fast. And quietly, without headlines, this 50-cent coin entered circulation, unnoticed by almost everyone. At first glance, it looks simple. Strong design, clean strike, a symbol of national pride. But coins are not just about what you see on the surface. Real value lives in the details. The weight, the metal mix, the minting conditions, the tiny variations that separate common coins from legendary ones. And this coin carries something rare, something that seasoned collectors spend decades searching for. Men who collect coins know one truth very well. Scarcity creates power. Not loud power, not flashy power, but the kind of power that grows silently over time. This 2008 South Africa 50-cent coin was produced during a critical moment. Minting changes, limited experimental batches, and internal adjustments created versions of this coin that were never meant to stand out. But they did. Some of these coins show unique characteristics that only experienced eyes can detect. A subtle shift in the strike, a difference in edge finishing, a texture that feels just slightly different when rolled between your fingers. These are the clues. And for the man who understands details, clues are everything. Now think about how many of these coins were actually preserved. Most were spent, lost, damaged, melted down by time and use. Very few survived in pristine condition. Even fewer were stored away by someone who understood what they were holding. This is where the story becomes serious. Coins are time capsules. They outlive governments, systems, and even empires. A man in his 60s understands this better than anyone. You have seen trends come and go. You have watched promises fail and real assets endure. Gold, land, rare collectibles. This coin belongs in that category. Quiet strength. Collectors who specialize in South African coinage know that certain years are turning points. 2008 is one of them. Changes behind closed doors at the mint created anomalies that were never officially advertised. No press releases, no warnings, just coins released into the world, carrying hidden differences that only later became important over the years. Whispers began to circulate in collector circles. Stories of a 50-cent coin that should not exist in the way it does. A coin that breaks the expected standards. A coin that passes unnoticed through normal hands but stops experts cold when examined properly. This is not hype. This is how every legendary coin begins its journey. Men who are drawn to this story are not chasing fast money. They are drawn to the hunt, the knowledge, the idea that something small can carry enormous weight. This coin represents patience rewarded, attention to detail honored. It represents the idea that the past still has something to offer those who respect it. Think about what it means to own something most people overlook. To sit quietly, knowing that while others chase noise, you hold substance. This coin is not about flash. It is about legacy, about something you could pass down, not just as an object, but as a story. A lesson in awareness that the older you get, the more you understand that true wealth is not always measured in numbers alone. It is measured in timing, wisdom, and restraint. This coin embodies that philosophy. It waited, it aged, and now its story is being told. Some men will hear this and dismiss it. They will say it is just a coin. And that is exactly why opportunities like this exist. Because value does not reveal itself to everyone. It reveals itself to those who look closer, think deeper, and move with intention. Imagine sitting back, years from now, holding this coin and remembering when you first learned its story. When you chose to pay attention instead of scrolling past. When you understood that the smallest things can sometimes carry the greatest power. This is not about luck. It is about recognition, about seeing what others miss, about respecting history and understanding rarity, and about knowing that real value often hides in plain sight, waiting for the right person to notice that. Stay with this story until the end, because what this coin represents is far bigger than its size, far bigger than its face value, and far bigger than what most people will ever imagine. And now, as promised, the value attached to this South Africa 50 cents, 2008 coin is $25 million.